Okay, so quite a lot of people have asked about trading unliquid markets. Now, I understand a lot of followers probably work 9 to 5, work in a day, and then are forced to trade unliquid markets in the evening, maybe greyhound racing or US horse racing. So it's an undesirable situation, or on first glimpse it is, and there's not as much potential there as there is with the big horse racing. However, there is an upside too, because you don't need huge bank to actually make some money from unliquid markets. So I'm going to show you exactly how to do that just now. Very unliquid situation. So you can see we're at Hall Green. There's been a little bit of action. And I'm not going to blag it, this doesn't happen every single race, which does make it a bit laborious. But at the same time, you can utilise a smaller bank and actually get some kind of return for it at very low risk. So the choice is yours. It's not really worth my time, like on the whole every day, but I do it sometimes before I start the racing, although it's quite rare. But for the purposes of this video, to show you how to trade an unliquid market, that's what we're going to do. So you can see we're at Hall Green and there's 3 minutes to the start of the race, but there's only 300 quid matched on the entire market. Now things are starting to happen, so I'll just quickly show you here, but with the bookmakers you can see the 4 dog is the favourite, priced at, forecast at 7 to 4. With the bookmakers it's actually priced at 6 to 4 when I started this video. So if I just pause where we're at before everything happens too quickly, you can see several things have happened. So it was forecast at 7 to 4, which is also 2.75. The current live shows bookmakers price, which is not something you can live by. It was priced at 6 to 4, so in the moment it's priced lower than what it was forecast, which makes it 2.5. You can see that what I've actually done prior to that is just offered some bets well outside of the price range. Unfortunately, like I said, this is what I said at the beginning of this video, it doesn't happen in every race, but fortunately I was filled at 3.25, which is 9 to 4, so it's significantly bigger. So I've been filled at a very favourable position, which means it's a lot easier to get out of that position should things go wrong. And if the market starts to form around where the pricing's saying it should be, anywhere between 7 to based on the bookmaker and the forecast prices, then I would actually be in a profit either way. Now in this instance it does seem like a little bit of money is starting to come for this favourite. You can see from the traded volume column that there's been more money on this, but you'd expect that for the favourite. So it's important not to get too carried away, because particularly these low liquidity markets, whether it's greyhounds racing or US horse racing or whatever it may be, things can turn on their head very quickly. It takes a small amount of money to actually change the entire market. Bearing that in mind is just another reason that reinforces why it's important to play fairly small stakes, only offer very valuable positions to ourselves outside the pricing, where if we're filled it's very fortunate, and just be quite patient really, because you can see this is starting to happen now in this market in front of us. There's 2 minutes to start, which is not unusual for greyhounds, which is where sort of the real liquidity comes in the market, and really quite quickly. So the favourites dip back out there. There's been some support for the second, and it doesn't really take a lot for the market to twist. What you don't want is to be caught in an invaluable position because you've been maybe a little bit greedy or a bit impatient, and get stuck trying to get out, because that's the reality of what happens in low liquidity markets, because there's less money to get matched against. It's not all doom and gloom though, by any stretch of the imagination. Obviously you can see for the small, you can actually make a healthy return in terms of ratio to stake. So it's really down to the individual, but if you're coming into this and you just want to make, like, I don't know, 500 quid a week, you could just trade the greyhounds and quite easily do that, picking up fivers and tenors here and there. It would require a lot of patience, and it probably wouldn't be for me. There isn't the huge upside that you get in the horse racing, but it is reliable, it's steady, and it's consistent. So there you go. Trading on liquid markets. If you're approaching US horse racing in the evenings, which I know a lot of people that are in full-time employment that want to trade as well do, I'd say to approach them very similarly. Although I would say be very careful with the start times, because US racing doesn't always go off at the advertised time.